Lunch is the backbone of a day's meals.
I think that's his way.
Huh? Why are you staring at me?
Oh. Looks perfect and tastes just as good. All right, it's done.
That's a lot of fish you've cut up again.
That's because I caught so many earlier. If you're going to eat them, it's best to...
Was it difficult slicing up that many?
No, I'm used to it. It's no big deal for me at this point.
I know I probably shouldn't be saying this after all the trouble you went through, but I've never really understood the appeal of sashimi.
Oh, I'm sorry, Law. I didn't realize. I only make it because it's an easy way to deal with big catches when I fish.
You haven't done anything wrong, Kisara. Law, if you don't like the flavor, you're always welcome to add some of my spices to it.
Hey, yeah, that might work. I'll just put some of this.
What's wrong, Law? I'd never seen someone jump up and sprint.
He ran as soon as he took a bite of that sashimi.
Was he crying because of the taste?
I don't think the sashimi is the problem here, guys.
Kisara, let's talk for a bit.
I've been thinking about what we discussed earlier. His reasons might not have been pure, but in the end, Dohalim still made Elda Menencia a place where Danans and Renan... I thought everyone would welcome that change, with open arms. I took pride in what we had without putting in the work to... After so much failure, do you think I even have the right to pursue my...
It doesn't matter what I think. You've already found your answer, haven't you?
I know what I want to say, but I can't help but wonder if I'm being selfish.
Everybody makes mistakes in life, Kisara. Everybody. It's what you do afterward. But you already knew that, right?
Yeah. I won't look away from the world any longer. More to the point, Dohalim needs someone who can push him forward. I think
If we see that happening, we'll set him straight. Don't worry. I have to say, though, if you turned out this well modeling yourself after Miguel, he really must have been a great man.
What, you didn't believe me before? If you need more convincing, I've got plenty...
Maybe another time.
I'll take watch tonight. It's okay. Before we go, do you guys have everything? Well, it's the moment of truth.
This lady better hold together once we're up in the air.
Law, don't say that! You're going to jinx us!
Speaking of which, Alphen, this bucket of bolts got a name?
A name? You know, I'm not sure she ever had one. I never really thought about it.
Well, after all the trouble we went through to find her, we should give her one, right? I was thinking something like...
Fall Knights.
Huh?
It means owl in the ancient tongue. Literally, the one drawn to the sky.
I like it. Sounds perfect for our little escapade.
Not sure I'm completely convinced, but, well, it's as good a name as any. From now on, she'll be known as the Fall Knights.
Okay, people. We have two goals. First, we need to get to Lenegus and make the Renans finally leave Dana alone. And then, we need to figure out the truth behind Shion's thorns and find a way to save her. Sound good? All right, then let's go.
You know, I can still hardly believe it.
Believe what?
I mean, just look at it. The whole of existence crammed inside a tiny frame.
Now that you mention it, I guess you're right. It does look more like a painting than a living, breathing world.
From up here, all the struggles we've been through feel so insignificant.
Nothing like realizing how small you are to put everything into perspective. Kinda makes the differences between the Renans and the Danans feel pretty small too.
How much longer until we reach Lenegis?
There are better ways to use your time than napping. We should take a moment to familiarize ourselves with the facilities on board before arrival.
Good idea. The starship may end up serving as our base of operations once we're down there. Think you'll be all right with the control?
You mean the one set to automatic pilot? I dare say I'll manage. I'm basically just here to supervise.
In that case, she's all yours.
Everything okay, Shion? You seem a little different.
Different? Like in a bad way different?
No, not at all. You seem more driven lately, like you found a zest for life. It suits you.
Is something wrong?
No. I was merely thinking how it had been 7 years, that's all.
You mean since you became a lord and left Lenegis? I guess even someone like you can get homesick, huh?
I am as prone to sentimentality as any other. You too have a history with Lenegis. A traumatic one, no less. This trip will probably mean facing up to some difficult... Doesn't that frighten you?
Well, it is a place where I took the lives of countless people. I'd be lying if I said I hadn't thought about it. But I can't keep running forever. The past is what it is. There's no changing that. But the future's what we make it.
I see.
Dohalim?
Forgive me. I was wrong to pry. We have more pressing matters. Come back and speak to me when you've finished looking around the ship.
We'll be going to Lenegis.
This must feel like a homecoming of sort. What was life on Lenegis like back then? You know.
Let's just say, I don't have many happy memories. They called it treatment. But in truth, they were just using me as a guinea pig for their...
You mean, they experimented on you?
That's right. All I was to them was a riddle to solve. They poked and prodded me, trying to figure out what triggered my thorns. Day in and day out, every single day, one test after another. I'm still surprised they didn't try to dissect me. The look they gave me whenever one of them touched my skin. How could I forget it? Really, some existence, huh? A blight on any I touched. Helpless, I thought things couldn't get any worse. But then they did. I started to have nightmares, visions of the coming apocalypse. Is it any wonder I lacked a cheery disposition? Unable to so much as touch another soul. Sure, I survived, but with the knowledge that one day I'd be swallowed up by oblivion. And that's when it hit me. If I was going to die, then it should mean something. If I have to sacrifice myself to save the world, so be it.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to make you relive that.
No, it's fine. I'm in a much better place now.
You say it's your destiny to die so that others can live. But why not the other way around?
Are you crazy? Why would you sacrifice your life for...
That's exactly my point. Why should you have to give up your life just because you drew the short straw in the destiny stakes? It's that logic that's used to justify slavery. As if some of us were just meant to be This struggle was never about saving only ourselves. But that doesn't mean we have to give up our own lives if we're doing this to protect people. If we're doing this to save the world from destruction, then that has to include saving each other as well.
A world free of sacrifice. That's what you've been fighting for all along.
Not just me. We're in this together, remember? This fight is yours too, Shion. If we're going to win, everyone has to win. There can be no room for losers in the... Now I see it. The true nature of our struggle.
A victory without losers. But that means that a Danon victory over Rena can't be the end. Do you think we can pull it off?
You bet we can pull it off. We have to. It's the only hope we...
Yeah, you're right. We can do this.
Hey, Alvin, listen to this! So Law and I were just talking, and
Hey, shut up!
What's got Law all flustered?
only that he's afraid of flying, the big baby. And after all that fuss he made about naming the ship, too.
Hey, I never said I was... I just think it's, a little unsettling how we're going to be cruising through space in a glorified tin can.
It's a starship, dummy. That's what it's supposed to do. I don't think there's anything strange about it.
Well, maybe you're the one with the problem.
Guys. I'm no expert, but I think we can trust Renan technology.
Oh, that's a good point. If you think so, Alvin, it must be okay. Don't you agree, Law?
Hard to argue with that, seeing how you hitched a ride in one of these things before, Alvin.
You okay?
Actually, now that you mention it, not at all. These starships are a remarkably smooth ride, all things considered. Nothing like being at sea, thank goodness.
Glad to hear it. That device there caught your eye, huh?
I was just wondering what it is. It looks big enough to fit a person inside of it.
It's a healing pod. It fixes injuries and illnesses.
Oh, you don't say. That should definitely come in handy if any of us get injured while we're down there. Alphen? Was it something?
No, I was just thinking back to when I escaped Lenegis, that's all. Well, Naori laid me inside here.
So,
Yes, it sounds crazy, I know. But don't even ask me why I stayed asleep all that time.
that's definitely quite some lie-in, all right. But still, whether you meant to or not, I sure am glad that it's this century that,
What do you mean?
with the amount of fighting we've done, we would have never made it this far without you. Alphen, can you recall back to what it is that I said to you? Back when we left Menancia? About the dream of coexistence?
Of course. That's why you came with us, right? To learn what you couldn't at home.
Even in that time, I was well aware that what I was living was a lie. But at the same time, I also felt really compelled to fulfill my brother's... I'll always remember him fondly. But the coexistence we're fighting for isn't for him. It's for people now. The world's bigger than just Menancia. My dream is for all Danons, wherever they might be. If I've learned anything on this journey, it's that. And the one who brought me along was you, Alphen.
Well, we're not out of this forest just yet. You should probably save your thanks. At least, until we've dealt with the Red Woman.
I know. But whatever we find when we get down there, I'm through looking the other way.
Kisara.
Probably getting a little ahead of myself, huh? Let's take things one step at a time.
Is everyone about ready? We'll soon be...
Before we do that, just what
Kisara has a point.
I'd like to hear more too. It's been centuries since I was last there, and they didn't exactly give me the grand tour.
Very well. First and foremost, Lenegis was the base of... Of course, it also happens to be a city in its own right, complete with its own independent society. Its social structure is based on a strict hierarchy. Put simply, the strength of an individual's astral arts carries...
Enough to determine someone's social rank, you mean? But astral arts are innate, right? So people's position...
They can be honed with the right training, and there are admittedly other factors at play. But yes, that's basically the gist. As a result, family lines that churn out lords and their contenders wield disproportionate influence.
Those capable of only weak astral arts are effectively an underclass. Denied the right to descend to Dana, still. Even the lowest rung on the Renan ladder is considered superior to being a Danon.
Thanks for the warning. As a lord, Dohalim must have been pretty high up in the pecking order, right?
Come on, you've seen her skill with astral arts. You really need to ask?
On arts alone, you're right. I'd have been sitting pretty. But you're forgetting my thorns. They weren't exactly an invitation to high society.
Sorry.
No, it's fine. It's refreshing to be around someone who says what they're thinking. Life's less complicated that way.
Jeez, give back.
Wait a second. Are you? He is! Lost blushing!
I am not!
Of course, separating people into castes based on something arbitrary like arts is discrimination at its worst. As if such simplistic criteria could ever be a measure of someone's worth.
So this red woman, are we expecting...
I would wager so. Lenegis is too deeply involved in all this to discard the possibility. Chances are she's also connected to the Renis Alma being stolen from us and...
If the Renis Alma is being used to exploit Dana, we need to take it back at all costs.
That red woman's got a lot to answer for.
We're about to land. The descent could be a little bumpy, so brace yourselves.
If there are clues about your thorns out there, Shion... There's no one here. I wasn't expecting a welcome mat, but still.
Lenegis's infrastructure is largely automated. Besides, people won't be expecting incoming traffic while the crown contest is still underway.
Do you think anyone realizes that we're here?
We may not have received a royal welcome, but I doubt our entrance went unnoticed. Don't let your guard down.
I really hope we don't have to fight anybody while we're here.
So now what? We've come all this way on a hunch that this red woman is here, right? And if we're lucky, the Renis Alma too. Any idea where we should start looking?
There is an area of the city that is accessible only to the Sovereigns, known as the Forbidden Zone. That seems as good a place as any for us to start.
Forbidden? What are they hiding?
I don't know, hence my desire to find out. Fortunately, we just so happen to have a Sovereign in our midst. In any case, changing the shape of a huge structure such as Lenegis would have required an immense source of power.
Then you think that source might have been the Renis Alma?
Precisely. Alphen said that he remembered the Renis Alma being used in the spirit channeling ceremony 3 centuries ago. Whatever the ceremony's purpose, if preparations are underway for it to be held once more, then the Renis Alma might be in the same place as last time, possibly together with the Red Wolf. Hiding something of that worth in the residential quarters would only court trouble.
It stands to reason we should be looking somewhere normally out of bounds.
Indeed.
But it's been over 300 years since I was made a Sovereign. You can't seriously think I'll be able to waltz right into the place?
There's only one way to find out. If there's even a chance you can get us in, I say we give it a shot.
Shion's right. Who knows? We might even find a clue to her thorns while...
All right. It's not like we're swimming in leads, so let's try to track down the Forbidden Zone. Beyond that wall lies a city full of Renans. The capital city where Shion and Dohalim used to live, no less. Who knows what we'll find on the other side?
What in the world?
This being Renin territory, I was prepared for a lot of things to look different. But this is a bit more than I anticipated.
The very foundations of the city have shifted. What could have caused this?
When Lenegis changed shape, it must have had an effect on the interior, too.
Maybe when they sent the wedge down to Dana?
But they wouldn't move around the places where people live. These are their homes, right?
I would think the citizens themselves didn't have much say in the matter. Either way, locating the Forbidden Zone just became that much trickier.
Dohalim? Is that you?
Avakir, I'm glad to see you're well.
So it is you! But why are you here? Shouldn't you be down on Dana?
So you haven't heard what happened on Dana then?
Heard what?
Someone you know?
An old friend.
Hey, Dohalim. Don't tell me you've started keeping company with... I'm really not sure. The city's foundations began to shift without warning, and now everything... We're all waiting for the Sovereign to tell us what's happening.
Avakir, listen to me. We're looking for the Forbidden Zone. Do you have any idea where...
The Forbidden Zone? What business could...
Trust me. The less...
You're just the same as... I wish I could help, but what with the changed topography, I can barely locate my own home, let alone the Forbidden Zone.
Very well. It looks like we'll have to find the way there ourselves.
Have you seen Faria yet?
No.
I see. Well, nothing much has changed with her. If anything, she's probably even more...
I can well imagine.
Why did you come back? You know it can only result in pain for you both.
I've no doubt of that.
You really are the same as ever. Fine, I understand. Just don't say I didn't warn you. And take care of yourself, okay, Do?
So who's Far?
Law?
If what Avakir said is true, it would seem the people of Lenegis are being kept in the dark about what's happening down...
They seem to be just as clueless about what's going on up here in their own world. Despite the fact that it's actually here.
We need more information. Let's talk.
While we're at it, we can ask them about the red...
And don't forget about finding the way to the Forbidden...
Let's leave the talking to Shion. We can't have a bunch of Danans poking their nose...
Good idea. I think that's for the best.
I shall assist.
You sure?
Being a lord on Lenegis has its advantages.
Right. Then we'll leave it to you. The Danans among us should probably keep our heads down.
What if people freak out?
I shall explain it away by saying I'm leading you.
Oh, dear me. What an unspeakable mess this... Whatever did we do to deserve it?
You really have no clue what might have caused this?
Would that I have. Alas, there was no warning, no prior decree. His Highness must have deemed it unnecessary for us. We have no choice but to agree. But do my eyes deceive me? Could I really be standing in the presence of his lord? I believed he was on Dana.
Your eyes do not deceive you. It is I, one and the same. I have returned to fulfill a special duty, the details of which I cannot divulge.
As your lordship wishes. First, Lenegis mutates beyond recognition. Now this unexpected visit. The Ilkaris house has produced a great many lords over the centuries. I shall be...
Your good wishes do me an honor.
Everything will be okay now.
I know the basics of healing arts, but my skills pale in comparison.
Your lordship! Oh, what a great honor it is to finally meet you. I descended to Dana during the last crown contest also. Alas, when the contender I was backing failed to click, I witnessed the deaths of...
Indeed.
Sorry to interrupt, but we're looking for a woman dressed all in red. Have you seen...
All red, eh? No, I can't say I remember anyone like that. I imagine she...
Yeah. What about down on Dana during the crown contest? You didn't see anyone like that hanging around the Lord you were...
What's with all these questions? I've never seen her, okay? Not recently or otherwise. Why do you want to find her anyway?
Never mind. Forget I asked. Is everything okay? You look...
Oh, yes. I can't seem to find my way home is all.
I was hoping to head this way myself.
I suppose the Sovereign knows best. I daren't stay here too long, though. A lower caste can only linger around these parts for so long before I outstay my welcome. I was hoping to avoid it, but maybe I'll have to go that way after.
You mean you know another way round?
Lord Dohalim Ilkaris! But how? Last I heard, you were in Dana competing in the crown contest.
Yes, strange, isn't it? If you know another route, we'd be grateful if you could tell us.
But of course. Please forgive me. There's a wall that sprung up ahead of here, with what looks to be an entrance in it. I thought maybe it was a passageway between the different quarters, but I've no way of...
It's worth investigating. I shall go and assess the situation.
You'd really do that for me?
Our lot in life is of little consequence.
Oh, why yes, my...
Well, we've canvassed the city for information.
No one has the faintest idea what's happened to the city after all.
You'd think that info would easily find its way up here.
Not to this extent, which would indicate that something's suppressing the truth, that Lenegis is under some kind of control.
Given everything that's happened to their city, the people here seem weirdly okay with it.
Yeah.
Everything that happens here is attributed to the Sovereign's will. It's the way... Nothing happens devoid of a reason. To them, it's all part of the Sovereign's grand plan.
The Sovereign's... There is one thing I'm still not sure about. Just who is this person ruling over Lenegis?
The Sovereign, of course. He rules from Rena while presiding...
Without the lords or anyone in the middle doing his dirty work? Isn't Rena at least... That's a pretty big dominion for one person to rule over. I would have thought ruling Lenegis alone would be different.
The points you make are valid, though I confess I'd never given it much thought before. Here, the Sovereign's total authority is as natural as night. Come to think of it, I know nothing of the nature of how Rena itself is. Shion, have you ever been... No, forgive me. Have you met or crossed paths with, or even heard of someone who's actually made a visit to...
No.
Neither have I. In which case, I would imagine that...
Hold up, what are you getting at?
Assuming what I believe to be correct, it's possible that no one on Lenegis has ever laid eyes on the actual Renan homeworld itself. No one but the Sovereign, that is.
But what about trade and communication? There's got to be a flow back and forth, surely.
Not if the Sovereign is imposing his will on Lenegis single-handedly. It could be a one-way street.
But I thought you said that the Sovereign's all the way over on Rena. If that's the case, can he really rule directly over Lenegis? What if something were to happen to the city?
I'm beginning to wonder what the nature of this Sovereign even is. Alphen said he was forced into... But Sovereign is also the title given to the almighty Renan ruler.
Whoever wins the crown contest inherits the throne from his or her predecessor. Thereafter, that individual is known as the Sovereign. Though, it would appear... As for how Volron factors into all this...
3 centuries ago, I became the Sovereign here on Lenegis. No, not just became, I was 300 years later. We crossed paths with Volron, who also bears the That's not the only thing we have in common. We both became Sovereign.
Do you think Volron was made Sovereign for the same reason? Because of that ceremony?
I can't say for sure, but it certainly sounds like it.
But that would mean that 2 Sovereigns would need to exist at any one time. One whose job it is to rule, and the other for ceremonial purposes. We never did see Volron's body back in Ganath Heros. Is a new ceremony underway with Volron at its center this time? Could that be what's causing all this strange activity here?
Wait a second. You don't think Volron and the Red Woman are working together, do you? The ceremony can't go forward without the Renis Alma. The same one that the Red Woman stole.
There's something else the ceremony needs. A maiden. And unless there's another one out there aside from me...
Questions, questions, and yet more questions. Ones that it seems will remain unanswered until we can establish the Sovereign's identity.
If the Forbidden Zone really is off-limits to everyone but the Sovereign, that seems as good a place as any to start. For the sake of
Then it's decided. That's where we need to go.
One of the citizens mentioned... Let's go find it!
With nobody left to run the show, I wonder what the people here are supposed to do. I mean, there's sovereigns up on the Renan homeworld, and all their lords were sent to Dana.
But Dohalim was a lord, right?
Only current acting lords have power. Renan society is quite strict about such matters.
Even if the other lords were still around, I doubt they'd be able to do much about the situation.
I wonder what they'd think if they were here to see Lenegis now. Balsif, Cannabelt, Almadria, and Volron. Now that I think of it, aside from Dohalim, we know next to nothing about the other lords.
Well, yeah, why would we? To us Danans, they were just enemies we needed to overthrow. Nothing more.
I know. But seeing Renans in their own city, going about their day-to-day lives, it gets you thinking.
It feels strange to imagine the lords living here too, you mean?
Yeah, a little.
If you're that curious about them, why not try inquiring with some of the locals? Every lord in their household has their share of supporters here on Lenegis. And luckily for us, the people here are unaware of the events on Dana, which means they should be more inclined to talk to us.
Yes! Yes!
Balsef had it in him to care about someone other than himself? Really?
It's possible. A change in position can do much to alter one's perspective.
So even he might have had some...
I guess she intended to spread it throughout all of Lenegis then.
Good thing the lines were down so she couldn't.
It almost sounded like she was praising them too.
Maybe there was more to the guy than at first glance.
I shall refrain.
What?
Ganabelt was so horrible to people, yet he was invested in helping Rena succeed. Doesn't that seem just a little inconsistent?
I'm perhaps biased in this matter, I admit. However, in my mind, while all lords vie to become the next sovereign, they're also meant to serve as guardians of all of Rena.
It seems like Ganabelt also had people he cared about until the very end.
So why couldn't he extend that to us, Dan?
Pardon me.
This area doesn't look as badly damaged as that other district we went through.
Indeed, the effects of Lenegis' transformation appear to be less pronounced here. Or, viewed another way, this area was simply luckier.
I guess her willingness to stoop to any low came from a survival of the fittest.
Ridiculous. Okay. Ah!
It seems like the people on Lenegis don't really know much about Volron either.
I remember being quite surprised when the Lord of Ganath Harros changed so abruptly.
Didn't you have any doubts that something suspicious was going on?
On the contrary. Remember, we Renans are raised to accept everything at face value.
When you think about it, the families of Renan lords must see them differently than the rest.
Yeah, despite the brutality,
They must have had a lot on their shoulders, carrying all the weight and
Renans live in a world where strength and power determine their position in the social but their loyalty to their people is also strong. It's what brings them together against outside.
That's what makes them the guardians of all of
Right. It's the same reason Balsif hated my guts, and Ganabelt went out.
Guess that makes you an even bigger oddball than...
So, Alphen, have you gained anything from all?
Yeah. I think it's me, Balsif and the others.
Yeah, but still.
I know. What they did was horrible. But at the same time, they weren't incomprehensible monsters either. So I guess...
You're saying that they weren't bad because they were Renans, or because they were terrible monsters. Even if they did terrible things, they were still just people.
Renwell.
Am I wrong?
Not at all.
Being a Danan doesn't make you a good person. I think that's something we...
Shion and Dohalim definitely...
And I'm going to keep doing my best.
What's this thing? There's something I just don't get.
What is it?
The crown contest itself has always gone ahead as planned, right? In which case, the current sovereign of Rena should be whoever it was that won the previous
Yeah, that makes...
So, who what?
Hanfricht Milgras, the former lord of Cislodia.
So then this Hanfricht whatchamacallem, he's the current ruler of Rena?
The last I heard, yes. Though, admittedly, I haven't actually seen him since the end of the previous contest.
You're saying that ever since becoming sovereign, he's never actually shown himself?
I guess over holocom maybe, but not in the flesh.
Now that you mention it, I don't recall anyone ever visiting Lenegis from the motherland. Sovereign...
And that never struck you as a little bit...
When you live here, it's as if you're conditioned not to notice all these strange quirks and discrepancies.
A new Renis Alma is supposedly created to coincide with every crown contest, meaning each victor is awarded their very own. In other words, if that's true, there should be as many of the things out there as there have been
True, but going on what we witnessed in Pelagian, it didn't look like the sort of thing. But if even the victor's speeches have been part of some...
You and me both. Though we are Renan by blood, neither of us even knew that such...
With any luck, the Forbidden Zone might give us some answers.
No use standing around here chatting about it then.
Doe?
Faria.
Varia?
But why are you here? Wait. Don't tell me you've given up on the crown. Nothing to say?
Even though you were willing to kill Tarnigan to secure your position as Lord.
Kill?
I'm here to take care of something. If you wish to continue this conversation, I only ask that you wait until I'm finished.
Oh, of course. You always did prefer to take the coward's way out. Even after... But let me tell you, I haven't changed either.
If killing me will bring you peace...
Dohalim! What the hell are you...
First, I have business to take care of. If it's vengeance you seek, I will grant you it. My sins are legion. Let me finish what I came to do. Then you have my word. I will let you do whatever brings you peace.
Sure, that's it. Run away like always. You don't even have the courage to die. No wonder you leave it to someone else. You're just a coward!
Dohalim.
I apologize that you had to witness.
Is it true? What she said?
Each of us have our pasts.
Before, back in Menancia, you mentioned having taken a friend's life over the throne.
The mistakes I made there were not my first, and may not be my last.
Did you mean what you said? About letting her take your life if she wanted to?
She has more right to my life than...
But you can't just...
Whatever happens, I have sworn to put an end to the crown contest, and to ensure continued coexistence. I have no intention of expiring before I do so. There are far too many... Besides, you have just as much reason.
Dohalim!
Forgive me. Some things are best left.
Wow, this...
Yeah, it must be some...
You think? Man.
It is something the...
Before I went down to Dana, my friends and I, we used to gather at this very spot and play music together. Avakir, Faria, and Tarnigan. That was a lifetime ago now.
Tarnigan. He was the one that Faria mentioned, right?
He was once my dearest, closest friend. Despite Faria's lower-class upbringing, she possesses a tremendous talent for entranced by her playing. I helped her overcome her sense of inferiority. It was a time of great joy. 4 people bound only by their love of music, with no care for social standing. Only the...
A friendship based on mutual respect, and a society where everyone is a prisoner to their social class. You really are different, Dohalim.
I suppose it's natural you would see it as strange.
I would have. Now, I think the idea of breaking away from society's constraints and choosing your friends based solely on affection is something beautiful that's worth cherishing. Besides, it was that way of looking at the world that laid the foundations for coexistence in Menancia.
Your praise does me too great an honor. I was merely following the wishes of my own, and even then, it only lasted until the crown contest began. After that, Tarnigan had fallen for Faria. By becoming Lord, he aimed to wrest her from her humble origin, but fate was not so benevolent.
What happened?
Tarnigan was no match for me in combat. On a level playing field, he wouldn't have stood a chance, but he was desperate and low on options, and he couldn't stand the thought.
You mean he resorted to dirty tactics to try to win, right? But then why does Faria think...
How could I tell her? combined with the trauma of losing her beloved, and by her friend's hand, no less.
So instead you let her go on hating you, so she could use that hate as a crutch for her
That's not the same as running away.
It is exactly the same. Unable to face the loss of my friend and the burden of my duty. Instead, I decried my fate. As for what happened after...
But if you hadn't become Lord, Menancia wouldn't be what it is now. The Danans there would still be suffering under Renan oppression.
Shion's right. What other lord would have treated me as you did? Anyone else? You've saved so many people, Dohalim. You saved me. It's thanks to you that I'm here today. So, try not to blame yourself. The burden you've placed on your own shoulders is too much for anyone.
Frank as always. But I shall do my best to heed your advice.
Do you think he'll be all right?
Yeah, I think so. He's got Kisara.
It's important to have someone like that.
I didn't realize how difficult it is just to be there for someone.
Sometimes just knowing someone's on your side can be enough. And he knows, Shion. I promise he does.
I hope you're right. Alphen.
Yeah?
I never appreciated until recently just how much you were always there to support me.
It goes both ways. You've helped me keep going more. Times that I can count.
But I still wanted to say thank you.
I see a medic and supply officer over there. If they know you're with me, they'll likely offer their assistance.
Damn it! Lenegis soldiers!
Any way we can avoid fighting them?
That all depends on them. Whatever happens, be ready.
Well, so much for them not wanting to fight.
Oh! I am Lord Dohalim of Elder Menancia. I command you.
Threats to the city must be erased.
No. Have they been brainwashed too?
Brainwashed or not, if they want to fight, they got one.
What is that?
You're magic does it! The waters of magic is hurricane!
I'm not done! Locked in! You're mine!
Eat does it! Can't be stopped!
Take this!
Astral energy! Full throttle!
No! Dragon Force! You're finished!
That's my cue! Power of flame!
Burn! I'm not done! You're finished!
Ready to go!
Armor won't save. I'll finish you here now.
It's on!
Do it! Don't leave! Hey! Blow them away!
Now! It's time! I'm on!
Talon Strike!
Come on! I'm on!
Look sharp! Lightning Tiger Blade!
Those soldiers seem different from the citizens.
Yeah, they weren't
They weren't in the least.
Indeed. And yet, traditionally, Lenegis hasn't been high on threats. A few frenzied Zeugles during experiments here and there, but not much else.
Their glazed-over eyes reminded me of the soldiers and slaves we met back in Ganath. Haros.
I've never seen anything like that here on Lenegis before.
Maybe someone doesn't want us here, and the soldiers are their way of letting us know.
What with the Red Woman, the Sovereign, and Volron, we're starting to develop quite the growing list of adversaries.
Let's dispose of the trash.
Swarm! You're mine!
This one's mine.
I'm not done! Burn it hell!
These things can run rings around us. Arch Steel!
No further!
Glacial
Dragon
Spear!
Swarm!
Here's evil!
Strike!
Take this!
Now!
Look sharp! Lightning Tiger Blade!
Now!
One more!
Leave the ensnaring to me. Yeah!
Okay!
Bubbly to me!
Rising Life
These
Fighter!
fists have got your name on them!
Here I come!
Trust!
Rising Wyvern!
Shattering
I'm not done!
pieces! Attack time!
Mirage! No escape!
I'll smash you!
I'm not done!
Nothing gets by me!
Now! Astral Energy!
Say no more!
Am I on a roll or what?
Well, look who's in a bright and shiny mood.
No choice! Dragon Swarm!
I'm not done!
Lunar Rondo!
Raging Storm!
I'll stop its charge!
Thanks, Kisara!
Rising! You require
Take this!
Here's the
It does it!
Dragon Swarm!
Supernova! Raging Sleep now! Not in your dreams!
Dragon! This one's all mine! Try this!
Lightning
finish you
Orb!
here today!
Where that came from?
Take this!
Raging Cascade!
Ignite!
Eat this!
Rising
Run you
Wyvern!
through!
Magic
Shattering
Attack!
Fist!
Steel!
Lunar Rondo!
I'll be saving
Where are
this
you
one.
going?
Now we're not dust to dust! It was nice while it lasted.
Raging Storm!
I can carve through armor!
More where that came from! Healing Circle!
Can't end here!
Don't give up! Lightning Orb! Raging Cascade!
Now I'm in the groove!
I'll bring you back from death.
Now I'm real mad!
More for the stockpile! Resuscitation! My astral energy! Here's a healing arc! More where that came from!
Here I come!
Magic attack!
Dragon Swarm!
I'll crush you! Lightning reflexes! Tenebrous claw!
I'm on it! Take this!
Hurricane!
Dragon Swarm!
Tempest Flame!
I'm not done!
Confiscated!
No! I won't give in!
Dragon Swarm!
Flame of Fury!
Rising Wyvern!
Now we're not...
Here's evil!
Lunar Rondo! This one's all mine!
Blaster!
No further! Lunar Rondo!
Here's a healing arc! Raging Storm!
Here I come!
Ready and ready!
Not today!
Raging Storm! I'll heal you all!
Now I'm in the groove!
Dragon Swarm! Celestial Hammer! Razor Cyclone!
Explosive ring!
Celestial Hammer! Back in Razor
Where are you going?
No escape!
Eat this!
Dragon
Now
Swarm!
you see what I can do!
Ready!
Lightning! Downfall!
Denied!
Eat this! Take
I'll
this!
heal you all!
Lunar Rondo!
This ends now!
Consider yourself finished!
Quite necessary when creating weaponry.
It's on!
I see what
Now you see what I can do!
I see Lunar Rondo! Soaring light
No
spear!
shield can stand up to these
No,
things!
bring them down!
Holy glimmer!
I'm hit! I'll finish you here and now!
Dragon Swarm!
Fire support!
Where are you going?
You're finished!
There you are!
Do it! Too fast! Look sharp! Lightning Tiger Blade!
All
Not a
disasters
chance!
made one.
Dragon
Come
Swarm!
forth, the
I'll
heroes
finish
of
you here
purity!
No escape!
By the power of
Soaring light spear!
finish without a trace!
Here I come! You're on! Prepare to be sealed! Try harder! Struck!
Glacial spear!
Wave inside me! Yearn to be let free! Lunar Rondo!
Shattering
You're
all
out!
pieces!
We're not finished! Dragon Swarm! Burn!
Smash you! I'm on a roll now!
It's over!
Freeze Lancer! Blah, blah, blah.
Rising Wipe! Here I come! I'm not done! No further!
Do it,
Soaring light spear!
Demons descend! Flashing bang!
Not a chance! Soaring light spear! Mirage! Dragon Swarm!
Now! Frozen!
Hammer!
Could have been worse.
It's on!
You're mine!
Will this help? Holy Land!
Here I come!
How long are we gonna keep this up for exactly?
Now you'll learn! Soaring light spear!
This one's mine!
No escape!
Freeze Lancer!
Ready to go!
Dance in the wind!
Not today!
Air blast!
Rising Wiper!
In a vine!
Dragon
Do
Swarm!
it! Stop!
Law, get toasty!
Burn strike!
Not a chance! Dragon Swarm! Rising Wiper! Lunar Rondo! You're on! I'm not done!
Now you see what I can do! Now I'm in the groove!
Back into the fray!
Dragon
Whoa,
Swarm!
dance!
Rising Wiper! Soaring light spear!
Dance!
You're on!
The earth throbs.
Hurricane!
Lightning Blade!
Take this!
Thunder Blade!
Here!
I'm just
Here I come! I'm not done!
Talon Hurricane!
It's over!
Do it!
Take more! Look sharp! Lightning Tiger Blade!
There's always room for improvement.
Those soldiers don't seem to have any qualms about attacking on sight.
Is someone making them stand?
It'll be a breeze.
Dragon
Get in, get out.
The flame inside me yearns to be let free!
Can't get out of this. Crumble!
Time to cross blades! Dragon Swarm!
I'm on a roll now.
I'm not
Take this!
You're finished! Eat this!
Talon! Now you see what I can do.
Dragon Swarm!
Mega Ray! Dance in the wind!
Explosive Ray!
Now I'm in the groove.
Rising Wiper!
Hurricane!
Here I come! I owe you one!
In a vine? Oh! Now I'm real mad!
Dragon Swarm!
Talon Hurricane!
I'll heal you all! Heal!
Rising Wiper! Lunar Rondo! Soaring light spear!
I'll crush you! Lightning reflexes! Tenebrous claw! Swallow dance!
Try hard, my turn!
Dragon Swarm!
Rising Wiper!
Now we're not.
Soaring light spear! You're finished! The flame inside me yearns to be let free!
Light astral energy! Magic is
Take
in!
this! Soaring light spear! Try hard, not
That'll bring you down.
Rising water! It's on! I'm not done! Burn in hell!
A charge like that could easily be fatal.
Just as well, I'm here to stop it.
Now I'm in the groove! Rising water! Rising water! Not further! No escape!
Too much.
I'll finish you here and now! Dragon Swarm! First strike! Try this!
Tear you apart!
Explosive ray!
Now you see what I can do. Now I'm in the groove.
Try my turn!
I'll heal you all.
Rising water! I'll tear you apart!
Nothing gets by me.
Take this, Tom! Dragon Swarm!
Watch
No
this!
escape!
Astral energy, full throttle!
That'll teach us for getting cocky.
Handle
Dragon
this.
Swarm!
Where are you going?
You're mine! Solo dance! Rising Wyvern!
Here, let me help.
Lunar Rondo!
It's like trying to keep up to the wall.
Soaring right strike!
Take it.
Go!
One more.
Dragon Swarm!
In a bind?
Dance in the wind.
Lunar Rondo! It's
Magic is there.
In a bind?
It's over!
Like astral energy.
You're mine!
Pull myself together.
You picked the wrong fight!
Just Kisara, frozen.
Hammer.
Now, Dragon Swarm!
Armor won't save!
Here I
Watch
come.
this!
Raging against
You're mine!
Talon
Here I come!
Strike.
Rising Wyvern!
Watch it!
No
I'll tear you
escape!
apart!
You're on! Strike! Take this!
Blow away! It's time! In a bind?
Lunar Rondo! Soaring
Now.
Light Sphere! Chill!
This ends now.
Consider yourself finished!
Here's my starting wind. Car down.
Ready to go.
Take this! You're done!
Talon sword.
Swallow Blade! No escape!
This ends now.
Consider yourself finished!
All
Not a
disasters
chance!
wait blind.
That'll bring you down.
Security.
You're mine!
Roll, man.
Rising Wyvern! Lunar Rondo! Strike! Soaring Light Sphere!
Now, Kisara, go for it.
Prepare to crumble.
Am I on a roll or what?
Well, look who's in a bright and shiny mood.